He's awesome. He's a hero. He has overcome so much. Just did what he needed to do to get where he needed to do what he needed to do. A hero to me are all the military. All the military. And I don't mean it as you're fighting for everybody in this country. You know?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want you to get it to stop because you can't do this to me. So a hero to me is you and Isaiah and all those men who fought for us, for our freedom. Vietnam was a different story, you're right.
I think it definitely takes a different type of person. I don't think Joe Schmo can go to the Marine Corps and say, hey, I want to be a Marine. I think it definitely takes a different type of person. Hero, I don't know, but it definitely takes and I'm not trying to boast because that's the last thing I would do. But I think it takes a selfless person who has a drive to serve others, right? Because what else are you doing if you're going into the military? Unless you're doing it for free college, which is, it's not okay. That's not why you do it. You do it because you have a sense of, I want to serve others, you know, and I can. I have that capability, and I'm selfless enough, I think, that I can do that, right? So a hero to some, I get it. I think it's more selfless and more willing to serve, more wanting to serve, right? Not just in the military, but for your brothers and sisters in the military, and for you guys at home. The people that can't go in and say, okay, well, I want to go serve. I'm selfless. You know, it's just more about, like you said, everybody.
And I think the larger percentage of this country does not understand the freedoms that they have and how they have them. They do not understand it at all. They just don't. And it's and I feel we're losing it more and more and more. The generations fall off. I don't think the younger people that are coming up realize how lucky they are to live in this country. Go over to these countries that they don't respect women or treat them terribly. I mean, they just take that for granted. And these men for our military are fighting for that we have that in our country, and we are so lucky to have these men and women that fight for us. He failed to say that Isaiah's wife is also a Marine, and they have 2 children, and they're active Marines in the Marine Corps. I mean, they're the most amazing couple, and they have the greatest children, and yeah. He was one of the soldiers that came home every time Tony was home, Isaiah was home. Yeah.
Actually, the first time we came home for Thanksgiving, it was the day before Thanksgiving or the day before Thanksgiving. I think it was 2 days prior. We just got off of work at 4 o'clock, and we were sitting around, and it was deployment month, or it was deployment year. So we were getting ready to deploy. We were training and headed to Afghanistan, and they gave us 5 days off. So we got 5 days, and we thought, gosh, what are we going to do for 5 days? We're going to sit down and play video games for 5 days. Oh, let's go to LA. Oh, that's too expensive. We'll spend too much money. And so I said, well, we could drive to Oregon. And he said, drive to Oregon. And for many military guys that are watching this, is when you get 5 days off, you have boundaries. You can only go so far because you're America's 911 force. When they call, you got to go. Especially Marines were the first to go. So our people would say, you've got to stay in the boundaries. And I think for 5 days, it was 250 miles. You'd go 250 miles. So I said, if anything comes up, we'll rush back and we'll make it. He said, you sure? I said, it's a home-cooked Thanksgiving, and as soon as I said that, we were gone. It was...
And he can eat. I've never seen anybody eat like Isaiah, and he
loves
is...
mom's cooking. He loves mom's cooking.
Yeah.
He'll to this day tell me, she makes Chinese, and I'll send him a picture, and he'll call me. I say, can you send some? I'll say, I'm not sending any Chinese. I say, you're in Japan. But anyway, we had left it was like 7 o'clock. We drove straight through. He drove for 6 hours, and I drove for 6 hours, and Mom didn't know. I had to call Dad and tell him we were coming in case anything happened. So Dad knew, and we showed up 1 day before Thanksgiving. Early morning, we had, drove all night, tired. We had 2 doggy bags of Chow Hall food, because we said, we're not stopping and getting any food. We're just going to drive. We'll stop for gas. So we had 2 bags of Chow Hall food, and yeah, we walked in and surprised Mom.
I was sitting on the couch, and I turned around. He came walking in the back door. We've got it on video.
So how did you feel? Obviously, you felt wonderful.
I was just ecstatic. It was so awesome to see him and hug him and hold him.
Especially, knowing we were deploying shortly thereafter.
And was it just you and Isaiah?
It was just me and Isaiah the first time, yep. And we came up and we left and he said, we're coming back. I mean, we hadn't even left far. He said, we're coming back next year. And we did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And
came
he
back
brought
next year.
more.
And I brought,
with you.
yep. So Isaiah, if anybody gets anything out of this, it's Isaiah Jones. I mean, that guy,
He went through drill sergeant. Didn't like that so well.
he's a hero. He's my hero. He'll be my hero for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
He made sure I got home. He drove me to get home. You're getting home. I said, good to go. He
The
said,
best thing was when we were in 29 Palms and you and Isaiah walked off that bus.
and he'd always tell me before we went out, every convoy, you'd call him and ask him, he said, don't be a hero. He said, don't be a hero. Just do you, don't be a hero. Every convoy, I'd call him and I could ask him what he said to me before every convoy. Because I'd see him, we always had, we never were out at the same time, which sucks. We never got to work together. I always wanted to work with Isaiah. I wanted to call Isaiah in and say, hey, we're doing this over here. Come on. I never got to work with him, but he'd come back at night and I'd usually go out in the morning or vice versa. So he'd be out in the smoke pit having a smoke and I'd be walking out. And I'd always hear it from, no matter how far away he was, hey, don't be a hero. I remember that. I just remember that.
Where does he live now?
He's in Japan.
He's in
Japan. Yep, he's training. He's a staff sergeant now. He went through drill instructor school. So
Okay.
Are they still? They're in San Diego. family.
his wife and his kids
Kids are
are.
in San
She
Diego.
serves in Miramar, which is the air base in San Diego. Beautiful air base. Gosh, I'm jealous of all those Navy guys. So she works over there. He went when we had first got to our unit. He was Marine Corps to the max. I mean, we would be in civilian clothes at the mall and he'd tell me to start marching. And it's like, Isaiah. And he always said, I'm going to be a drill instructor. I say, no, you're not. You don't want to do that. Drill instructor life is hard. I mean, that's like going to boot camp 3 times. When you want to be a drill instructor, you go to boot camp again to learn how to be a drill instructor. Those guys got a tough life. I mean, they're working 24 hours a day. There's no going home and eating lunch or, 5 o'clock, time to go home and see the wife. That's not how it worked. He's just that hardened and that mentally tough so he went and he was a drill instructor for 3 years. Usually it's only 2 years. But he exceeded so much that he was the drill master. So he got to judge the recruits marching competitions. And all I could think of was he made me march around that mall. And to this day, he's making kids march. And so he's picked up rank very fastly. He's a staff sergeant, which doesn't happen very often for guys in my he was a radio operator as well, in our line of MOS. Certain MOSs pick up faster. For instance, admin, paperwork people, they pick up faster. There's not a lot of competing with them with rifle scores and physically. And with us, it was more. There's more of us, so there's more guys. So you pick up rank very slowly. I was only a corporal when I got out. I think he was a sergeant already. So he's a staff sergeant now, and he's leading Marines. He's on year 10, year 12, 11, year 11, staff sergeant, and he's training Marines there on Mount Fuji. I don't know what they're training for. He can't tell me, but he's having the time of his life. He said Japan's pretty cool. I haven't been over there. I'd really like to get over there, but
Well, maybe you will one day.
I hope so. And hopefully he's over there.
I'm so proud of both of you. It's a beautiful story.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for giving us your time.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
And you too, Mom.
You're welcome.
That's who did it.